is a nice day out here. We got a lot going on in the garden. Things are growing. The sun's finally here on the Pacific Northwest. It's been kind of crummy here, crummy growing season for us here right on the coast. So we'll see what happens. That darn sun is kind of in the way here. So there's the beets right here. So we're going to get in here, turn this fence off just in case I bump into it. But we've got the beets are right here. So we're going to go through there and pick what's big enough for canning. Okay, we got some beets here. This is the row right here. And that's a nice beet there. So we're going to go through and just kind of thin out and pick all the ones we want, and then we'll pickle those guys up. So we'll see this one here. That's a pretty nice beet there, I'd say. Okay, we're going to clean these up outside here. Got a hose bib right here. We'll take and rinse these all off right here. We had a little splash pad here for our granddaughter for one day, and it just burnt the lawn, so that's not too good. So we'll wash these up, and then I'll get them all trimmed up here. All right, we got these all washed up here, so I'm going to take and trim these guys up. So you want to take and trim these guys and leave like 2 inches of root, 2 inches of stalk. That way when you boil them, they don't bleed out. So we're going to boil them so the skins come off easy, and then we'll slice them. And so the first step in pickled beets is getting them cleaned up, trimmed up, and we'll boil them until they're tender, and then we'll finish trimming and taking the skins off. So we'll get this on the stove here and get them boiling, and we'll be back. Okay, we got them on the stove here, and we'll get this thing going here. Okay, so we'll get those guys cooking. Yeah, this recipe that I'm using for the pickled beets is in the Blue Book Guide to Preserving. It's a pretty good book. We've got the big one. This is a little one. It has same recipes, some of the same recipes, but it has some different ones in there too. So these are the spicy pickled beets that we're using here. It happens to be on page 87 of this issue here. So, and it's a really good recipe. Used this one for years, and it's proven to be very good. So it has 4 pounds of beets, 3 cups of thinly sliced onion, 2 cups of sugar, 3 cinnamon sticks broken, and then 1 tablespoon of mustard seed, 1 tablespoon of whole allspice, 1 teaspoon of whole clove, 1 teaspoon of ball salt, 2.5 cups of cider vinegar, 1.5 cups of water, and ball crisp, and that's an optional. But it turns out really good. We really like it. Okay, the recipe calls for 3 cups of thinly sliced onions. So I like to use the sweet onions. A lot of times we get the Walla Walla sweet onions. I'm not quite sure what these are. I don't think these are the Walla Walla. We have some over on the counter there, but we're not using those yet. And my onions are not quite ready yet, so these are store-bought. So, but here we go. We're going to slice them up, and then thinly. You could do this on a mandolin and make it a lot easier, but I'm just going to do it this way. And I'll be back. Okay, here we go. We got these all cut up. Here, and there's 3 cups right there. Okay, we're going to give these guys a try here and see how we're doing. One there, that guy's going in pretty good. Find a bigger one. There's a bigger one. I'd say they're ready. Okay, we'll take them off the heat here. Okay, I lost my mic here, so I have to do a little voiceover. So here I'm just pouring the beets into a strainer in the sink, and then I'll rinse them off with some cold water here to cool them down. That way you can at least handle them to get the skins off. So here I'm cooling them down with the sprayer, some cold water. It works pretty good. Then when you're peeling these, just kind of cut the tops off. A lot of times you can break them off like that, but then cut the root off at the bottom. A lot of times you can just take your fingers and then the skin will come off. And it helps to run some cold water, a little bit of cold water over there that help remove the skins as you're peeling them off. Some of the bigger ones, you have to use a knife and do a little scraping to get all that kind of the tough skin off. But the smaller ones, however, they will slip right off. They'll just kind of give them a squeeze and they'll squirt out of their skin pretty good. So small ones are really kind of nice to work with. The big ones, they get a little bit tougher, but you get more beet that way though. Hey, just make sure you cool these babies down a little bit here because they're screaming hot when you get them out of that boiling water. So take your time, cool them down good, and you'll be able to handle them, and the skins will come off pretty good for you. So this is a lot easier, I think, than it looks. It is kind of messy. Okay, I got my beets all sliced up here. So we're going to heat up this and get it to a boil for 5 minutes. This has got the onions and all the spices, the vinegar, all that in there. So we'll get that on the stove going. The jars are in the oven at 250 degrees. Get them sterile. And then we'll use that. And I think this is going to probably fill up 5 to 6 pints, even though the recipe calls for 4. I may have too many beets here, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll bring this mixture to a boil, and then we'll lower it down to a simmer and simmer it for 5 minutes. Then we'll put the beets in. Okay, we added the beets into the pot. There, the sauce that's been simmering for a while here, so got to bring those up to temp, and then in the meantime we'll do a little cleanup here, and then we'll put them in jars, can them. Okay, we got 1/2 inch head space in the jars with the beets and the juice. So now we're just putting lids on and the bands, and then we'll get them in the water bath canner over here. We're going to put these in the water bath canner over here. Got a rack in there. Goes in there. ended up with 6 jars instead of 4 like the recipe, but we got enough juice, got enough everything in there, so we're good. I'm gonna lower this down in there. We'll bring this back up to a boil, and then we'll process for 30 minutes. See you then. Okay, the timer went off here, so that's been 30 minutes. Turn that off. And then what we'll do is we'll take the lid off this. That right here, and we'll put a timer on for 5 minutes. Okay, put a timer on for 5 minutes. So the reason you want 5 minutes on this is to let everything kind of acclimate and calm down a little bit. You take those jars out right now, but you could get some siphoning. That means everything is just going to come out of your jar on you. So we want things to settle down a little bit. And then we'll put them over here on a towel, get them covered up, and let them set overnight. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, so we're going to go ahead and take those out of there. If you don't have one of these and you're going to try canning, you need to get one of these. It's a lid or jar lifter. They work great. Just try to do this one-handed. So we'll get them all out like that. Put over here, put a towel over them, and tomorrow we'll put them in storage.